You know, the most realistic thing about Ad Astra is how much Virgin Atlantic was charging for the pillow and blanket pack. So, Ad Astra stars Brad Pitt as astronaut Roy McBride, who undertakes a mission across an unforgiving solar system to uncover the truth about his missing father and his doomed exposition that now, 30 years later, threatens the universe that we live in. So, Ad Astra had a lot of festival hype going into the movie. It debuted at TIFF, and that gave me a lot of hope for the film, especially because the trailers didn't really do much for me for Ad Astra. I don't really know why. I didn't really feel like the movie had a particular niche to it that really made me intrigued. But hearing all these great reviews, I went into the movie with, you know, expecting it to be a pretty good movie. And overall, I feel like this film is very, very mixed in my opinion. Hoyt van Hoytema does an incredible job as the cinematographer of this film. There are so many beautiful shots, so much well crafted that it's really beautiful to watch at times. This film has a lot of really incredible shots within, and it just becomes a very beautiful film at times, also due to the shot composition from James Gray as well. There's so much in this film that just makes it very entertaining to watch, just due to how good the movie looks overall. It's a very good looking movie, and I feel like with the space setting, Hoyt van Hoytema was able to do a lot with that setting and just create some really interesting, really cool, really beautiful shots that just add a lot to the film's experience. Also, the score is really good in this film as well. Max Richter, who did the score for the film, did a wonderful job. There are a lot of really good moments in this film, particularly there's one with a particular rocket launch that is really enhanced by the music in that scene. It really felt really good to me, and I felt like it just fit that scene perfectly, and I loved what the score did for this film as well. Very well utilised. And of course, Brad Pitt as the lead man here, I really enjoyed his performance overall. I have issues with the character and the performance, which I'll get to in a bit, but as a core performance from Brad Pitt himself, I think he did a really good job with it. I think he really gave it the best he could with the material he was given to work with, and I feel like the Brad Pitt, you know, there are a lot of people talking about, will he get nominated for an Oscar, you know, next year? Will it be for this movie? Will it be for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I still don't know which one is better, personally, out of Roy McBride or his character of Cliff Booth. I don't quite know which one I prefer yet, but I still feel like there's a very good chance that we will see Brad Pitt, you know, get nominated at the Oscars this year for either of those two roles, and I feel like this movie definitely proves why. However, moving over to the negatives for this film, it just kind of lacks something for me in the middle. There's something missing from the film with both the performance and the character and also the story. There's a lot missing in the movie. It kind of feels like it's lacking a core, you know? It feels like it's just, there's something missing from the heart of the film. So when I came out of it, it felt very hollow to me. It feels like this film is really technically impressive. It's got so much to love about it from a filmmaking standpoint, but you walk away from it thinking, yeah, that was all great, but what was really at the core of the movie, you know? What was really behind the movie's eyes? And there's not really a lot there. The character of Roy McBride frustrated me because while I feel like his character was played to be very restrained and very cold, it felt very pandering to me to have a voiceover. The voiceover I found extremely distracting. Now, it's not like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood where in the last act of the movie Kurt Russell all of a sudden starts voiceovering. Like, at least in this film it's consistent from the beginning, but I feel like that the voiceover really takes away from the tension and the intensity of the movie, and it just really makes Roy McBride feel like a bit of a messy character because he's supposed to be really restrained and really cold, but then you just have these moments where he completely undercuts the audience and undercuts the movie by just explaining stuff with exposition. So it feels very strange to me that they really went for that choice of making him a very cold character, but then to completely reverse on that and just make him, you know, this kind of pandering character who speaks to the audience directly. It felt like a very strange choice to me personally. And I feel like the only reason they added in the voiceover for this film is to avoid the complaints that First Man got with Ryan Gosling's performance. Now, I love First Man and I love Ryan Gosling in that movie, but obviously one of the big complaints that movie had for a lot of people was that Ryan Gosling and his performance wasn't particularly engrossing because he was so cold and so shut off and so reserved. And I feel like the reason why they added in the voiceover is because I feel like Brad Pitt's performance in this movie is actually very comparable to Ryan Gosling in First Man, but in order to avoid the complaints of the character, they added in that voiceover to let the audience in on what the character was thinking. But again, I feel like that sent mixed messages as to what the movie was trying to portray. And for a film that tries to be pretentious, it's very, very pandering at times. Like I said, there are a lot of moments where Brad Pitt's character just completely undercuts the audience. Like, there was a scene where I was looking around and I was really getting a lot of information from this scene in regards to the world building, which, can I have to say as well, the world building is tremendous in this film. But the world building, I was getting a really good idea of what was going on. I could see throughout the scene, just based on visual imagery, what was going on in that scene and, you know, how the human race had kind of evolved by this point, because this movie is set in the near future. But then Roy McBride would just come out with some voiceover explaining everything I just said in my head. And I just thought, okay, I didn't really need that, but okay, thanks, I guess. I didn't need that, but sure, whatever. And I feel like there's a lot of moments like that in this film that, again, just felt very pandering for a film that tries to be rather pretentious. Overall, I think Ad Astra has a lot to love about it. Like I said, there's a lot of really good stuff in this film when you talk about the technical aspects and the filmmaking aspects. The direction's great, the cinematography's fantastic, the score's great, the acting overall is really good. But I just feel like this movie isn't quite sure what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be an art house or to a cinema kind of film, or if it wants to be a general audience sci-fi action movie. It's not quite sure what it's trying to go for, and that kind of sends a lot of mixed messages in my head, because again, I feel like from a technical standpoint, if you're a film lover, you will love what this movie brings to the table. But I feel like as a general audience member, you're not going to love what's going on in this movie, and I think a lot of people might actually find this film rather boring because they're just not going to grasp what's going on in the film. And again, that lacking core in the middle just really drags the movie down for me personally, and the voiceover was so distracting at times. And I just feel like Ad Astra, it's a very mixed movie in my head, because I know a lot of people love this film, and if you love Ad Astra, that is fantastic. I wish I could. And I think the movie is good. This is the thing, I think the movie's good. I just don't think the movie's great, and the people labeling it like a masterpiece and one of the best movies of the year, I definitely feel like is an exaggeration personally. But again, if you feel that way, that is great. Make sure you let me know your thoughts as to why you think this movie is fantastic in the comments down below. But me personally, I think the movie is good, not great, so I'm going to give the movie a 7 out of 10. So have you guys seen Ad Astra? If you have, make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or were you kind of in the middle? Make sure you let me know everything in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more movie reviews and movie related videos like this one, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again next time.